You're going to see a black smoky screen during this thing. And then you're going to hear an orchestra start playing Bloody Tears from Castlevania 2. And you're going to see a Castlevania logo come out of the smoke. And you're going to see Konami. And then you're going to see Sony Santa Monica. And that's it. Nothing else. And I'm going to be happy.
The Don, although I do expect a Castlevania game to be announced and shown in some capacity, I do think they've been working on something behind the scenes for at least a year or two now. I don't expect it to be Sony Santa Monica. And it brings me nothing but sadness to believe this.
After playing God of War Ragnarok and seeing Eric Williams say the next game he wants to make is a Castlevania game, that just seems like a match made in heaven to me.
Just like you said, I wanted Eric Williams and this studio to make this game. That's the only thing that's gonna make this game the bona fide successful masterpiece. And if it's not gonna be Sony Santa Monica, it's gonna be mediocre.
I can see them announcing Castlevania logo only, maybe CG of whatever Belmont they're going to use, maybe. But I could see them announcing the game, confirming rumors, which have been going on for a little while now.
So what I believe is going to be shown or announced in some capacity is Sucker Punch's Ghost of Tsushima 2.
This is going to get shown off in this showcase. I think a surprise feature they're going to have is that the game is going to be full co-op, and that's going to be the difference between part 1 and part 2.
I think it has been what they have been working on since part 1 was released and garnered amazing reviews, scores, and critical success. I think it was a no-brainer for them to go ahead and move forward with the sequel, and it's been a few years now since they've been doing so.
The IP is established. The game engine's built. They could easily pump out a sequel relatively quickly, the same way they did God of War 2. God of War had just came out, maybe a year, they already announced part 2. Same thing here.
I don't think that this game is going to be released anytime soon, at least in the immediate future of 2023-2024. But I do think that announcing it and kind of giving a teaser of sorts would go a long way to show that Sucker Punch is still here and they are working on a game that everyone loved the original for.
My third-party prediction for a game that they will announce at Sony's press conference is gonna be a slap in the face at Microsoft. And let me explain why. It's gonna be a slap in the face at Microsoft due to recent events. We all know that the CMA just blocked Activision from being acquired by Microsoft. What Sony is gonna do to kick them in the ribs is reveal the next Call of Duty game.
Desert Eagle, your prediction is one of the most disrespectful predictions I've ever heard in my life. And goddamn it, I love it. I think it's good, perfect. I think this is exactly right up Sony's alley. And I can't unsee this prediction now. As a matter of fact, if this doesn't happen, I'm going to be so upset.
We all know that they still have the marketing deal with Activision until at least next year, and they're going to use it to their advantage. They're going to be the ones showing off Call of Duty, the next one, and it's probably going to be the next best-selling Call of Duty of all time on the PlayStation console.
Not only that, they're going to be extra disrespectful, and they're going to talk about how PlayStation is the home of Call of Duty, and it always
What can Microsoft do about it? Nothing at this point. So they're going to just take advantage of the current situation and reveal it and make people think, like they always do, that it's a PlayStation exclusive and most likely buy it for them again and make it another huge smash hit.
Right on the cusp of the CMA crapping all over this deal. Now Sony proudly announcing and showing this game off and saying this is the best Call of Duty yet. And the best way to play it is going to be on PlayStation 5. And they're announcing some exclusive DLC that's not even on the Microsoft Xbox.
And here's the thing, it's not going to be anything new. They've had the marketing deal. They've been the one showing Call of Duty. Xbox can't even talk about Call of Duty. People don't even know it's out for Xbox because of this marketing deal. They can't advertise it at all. So all Sony does is debut it. It's going to be the same thing that they do the last 2 years. The difference is people expected Xbox to own Activision at this point. So that's going to be the shocker.
So as we all know, Sony's working on 10 live service games. So I think they're gonna start showing off Haven's game, whatever the game it is that they're working on.
I think that's a good possibility. They'll show off one of their live service games. You know, like you said, they've been working on a few of them.
When they announced they purchased Haven, the studio by Jade Raymond in Montreal, they said that that game was developing ahead of schedule and was looking fantastic. And that's why they purchased the studio. That was about 2 years ago. So I can see that game being ready to get shown off. Since it is a live service game, they have to show gameplay. They can't really get away with a CGI trailer. They've been working on that game for what, 3 years now. So I think we're gonna see gameplay, get a good idea of what the game is. Maybe give a release date. It wouldn't surprise me if that game is ready for next spring. They might say spring 2024.
Who knows? Maybe even Bungie's. Maybe they'll get an announcement because they specifically bought Bungie to help them with these live service games.
One of the thoughts that I had for the PlayStation showcase was a potential Bungie IP reveal. Once again, nothing too crazy, no gameplay or nothing like that, but maybe a title and maybe showing off that Bungie's working on it. I do agree with you, the Don. I think that is a safe bet in terms of games that they can show. Some of the other live action or live service games that I was thinking in my head was The Last of Us multiplayer game. That seems to be a no-brainer. They can show that off.
The Last of Us, the factions multiplayer game. My bold prediction for this conference is that when they show it, they're gonna announce that that game is gonna get released possibly in July. Shock the world. This is gonna be their shadow drop for 2023. Like, Nintendo had the Metroid Prime remastered, Xbox did the Hi-Fi Rush, and I think Sony is going to do the factions multiplayer.
They can also show off or announce the Horizon multiplayer game that they had. A lot of these established IPs that people see the name and they're instantly recognizable and instantly hyped for. Horizon's multiplayer is probably a little more off than the Last of Us multiplayer title would be.
This game has been in development since The Last of Us Part 2 released in June of 2020. That's 3 years ago. These games were being made together and they got split up into two. And when they decided to make it its own game, the factions mode. So there's no reason to believe that this game has only been getting worked on for 3 years.
I think for it to be a success, it has to come out this summer. When people need something to play, it has to come out before Spider-Man, definitely. Because even if Spider-Man is a fall game, people are going to be spending time on that. They're not going to jump immediately to another game a month or two later.
Sony doesn't want to be put in a position, since they're having so many of these live service games, where they cannibalize each other. So if they're going to put out Haven's game in early next year, and if this game is supposed to be the first one, or at least that's the rumor that Factions is the first one, that needs to be put out this year. So I think they're going to shadow drop it very close to when this conference is.
I think that is a very bold prediction. Sony shadow dropping following the likes of Microsoft as well as Nintendo. Do I think they can do it? Yes, I think they have the stable of games where they can push something like this out, and it will be relatively successful with very little struggle.
It's a live service game, so you need something to generate immediate excitement to make people jump into it, because player count is everything with a live service. So if you surprise The Last of Us right off the back of the TV show being a smash success, and you just say, hey, here's this free-to-play Last of Us game. That's what worked with Apex. Why would it not work for this?
I think this game would have to come out at this time of the year. Build your community, because like it's a live service game, like you mentioned. It has to last a long time. So build the community early, get people hyped early, and then they're gonna move on to Spider-Man in the fall. And then, you know, they could keep jumping back and forth once you have that community established.
All right, and that's it for us. What do you guys expect to come from this Sony showcase? What games are you looking forward to? And do you guys expect any third-party announcements to be shown, even if they're not exclusive? Let us know what you think. We look forward to hearing from you. And until next time, let's game on.
If you liked our content, mash that like button. And if you're new to the channel and want to see more content, hit the subscribe button. Thanks for watching.